Leading up to the PlayStation VR2's launch, I was excited to play so many games. Horizon, Gran Turismo, Switchback, Village, but ports of 2.5-year-old Quest games weren't what I'd call top of the list. To make matters worse, I hadn't exactly heard the best things about Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, frequently hearing that Vader Immortal was the better of the two Star Wars games. But now that I've played it, I can easily say that not only is Tales vastly superior to Vader Immortal in almost every possible way, but it's also a fantastic game. Tales from the Galaxy's Edge starts you off near the Outer Rim, where you work as a droid repair technician. But it's not long until your ho-hum job takes a pretty video game-esque turn when pirates attack your ship. And as luck would have it, you're pretty good with a blaster. It's 20 against 1 and you take them all down with a few well-placed headshots. This is also when it becomes abundantly clear that what we're playing isn't a VR experience like Vader Immortal. What we're playing is actually a full-fledged first-person shooter. And man, shooting these weapons feels great. The various blasters all feel exactly like they should. I mean, I'm assuming. With impactful haptics and adaptive trigger support, these things are just fun to shoot. So luckily, there are lots of things to shoot. The enemy soldiers are everywhere, animate realistically, and while most of them are fairly dumb, a few of them manage to surprise me by running from cover in order to find a better vantage point to shoot me from. And there's something about the way these guys pop in and out of cover that reminds me of Rebel Assault 2 on PlayStation 1. Which I personally loved. This game feels like that game, in a fully realized VR space. But if I've given you the impression that shooting is all there is here, then I've absolutely done this game a massive disservice. Throughout the adventure, you'll interact with plenty of very talkative NPCs who will send you on missions. Some are collectathons, some are exploratory, and some even have a bit of puzzle solving. Every item crate and even every audio log requires a bit of VRAF interaction, usually from your multi-tool holstered on your belt. This thing triples as a taser, motorized ratchet, and blowtorch, which makes interacting with items in the environment way more fun, especially with the added immersion from the Sense controller feedback. The different types of vibrations you get in the controller from using the different types of tools is incredibly realistic. As you explore, you'll find junk and metal scraps that you can redeem for credits. There are collectibles hidden throughout the world, and there are just enough new items and upgrades in the shop to make it all worthwhile. And don't get me wrong, you will be shooting the whole time, but at least all the other stuff you're doing adds a little bit of substance to the proceedings, and keeps things from getting monotonous. Plus, every so often the narrative will kick in, and you'll switch characters, and play what seems like an entirely unrelated scenario, which is where the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge comes in. Some of these are certainly better than others. And honestly, I think it was just the developer's way of letting you use a lightsaber in a game that otherwise doesn't feature one. The one thing that you can count on when ILM X-Lab is at the helm of development is that everything will look and sound like a proper Star Wars experience. And Galaxy's Edge is no exception. The entire thing feels polished. Every moment feels epic with a soundtrack that seems like it was ripped straight out of the movies. Blaster fire, voiceovers, and every ambient noise fits perfectly. And for being a Quest port, I love the way this game looks graphically. Weapons up close are incredibly detailed and sharp, and the environments all look great with a ton of detail. There's definitely some blur when you look out into the distance, but I did find that reducing the headset's brightness by 50% made all the difference in the world, and made everything look a lot more natural. For all of Tales from the Galaxy's Edge strengths, there are some design decisions here that are somewhat disappointing, the most glaring being areas that require teleportation. See, for most of the game, you'll be running around, taking cover, peering out from behind crates, really feeling like a true bounty hunter within this universe. And then, out of nowhere, the only way to get to some places will be to hold the right analog stick to magically teleport to where you want to go. The same goes for the jetpack. It's upgradable and super helpful for getting to higher ledges, but the way it's implemented feels more like go-go gadget legs than something powerful strapped to your back. And I can only assume that the reason it's done this way is to ensure that the player doesn't accidentally throw themselves off a cliff, or end up in a pit that they can't get themselves out of. If we were given a jump button, the ability to climb ledges, and a proper jetpack, we'd be talking about great immersive platforming elements in an already fantastic first-person shooter, which would have propelled this game into the stratosphere. It took me almost 8 hours to complete the campaign, and yeah, that was me taking my time, exploring, getting a little bit lost, and backtracking heavily. But even then, there's still more to do. Checking out your missions and challenges in the pause menu will clue you into your progress on all of the side quests. So if you're a completionist, there's quite a bit to do here. Tales from the Galaxy's Edge was obviously a huge surprise for me. There are so many elements here that combine to make a more fully fledged VR game than we're used to seeing. And while it doesn't come together flawlessly, it's way more of a complete game than Vader Immortal ever was. It makes me hope that the next Star Wars VR outing we get will be even bigger, because I could totally see this formula working in an open world setting.
Look, you're determined. I get it, but I've done the partner thing. Lost poor AU when things went sideways at the Barrens.